William Carter stood by the large window of the Earth Embassy on Nexus Station. The artificial gravity kept his feet on the floor, but his heart felt heavy. After 15 years as Earth's ambassador to the Galactic Council, today might be his last day. The message from President Diane Powell sat open on his tablet. Clear orders. No room for negotiation. Earth had finally had enough. Ambassador, the council session begins in 20 minutes, said his assistant, Linda Walsh. Carter nodded. Thank you, Linda. Is everything prepared? Yes, sir. All human diplomatic staff across council space have received the alert. They're ready to move on your signal. Carter straightened his blue uniform jacket. The Earth patch on his shoulder seemed to weigh more today. He picked up his tablet and walked toward the council chambers. The station's curved hallways bustled with representatives from over 200 species. Some nodded to Carter. Others pretended not to see him. The treatment of humans had always been inconsistent, respected for their technology, but dismissed as newcomers who didn't understand galactic politics. Near the entrance to the council chamber, Carter spotted Jik, the Mardonian representative. The tall, gray-skinned alien motioned him to a quiet corner. Ambassador Carter, I must speak with you, Jik said, his 4 eyes blinking rapidly. The rumors, are they true? Is Earth really considering withdrawal? Carter kept his face neutral. What rumors have you heard, Representative? Jik leaned closer. The Xilari have convinced several major powers to support their developmental oversight proposal for human colonies. It will pass today unless something changes. This confirmed what Earth intelligence had reported. The Xilari military outpost near Proxima Centauri was just the beginning. Thank you for the information, Carter said. Jik touched Carter's arm with a 3-fingered hand. Your people have been good friends to the Mardonians. Whatever happens today, remember that not all of us see humans as the Xilari do. Carter nodded and entered the vast council chamber. Thousands of seats surrounded a central speaking platform. The chamber buzzed with conversations in hundreds of languages, all translated by small devices in each representative's ear. High Chancellor Vexer of the Xilari Imperium was already speaking. His red-scaled face appeared on giant screens around the chamber. And so we must acknowledge that human expansion requires guidance. Their technology grows faster than their wisdom. For their own safety and the stability of this region, we propose developmental oversight of all human colonial activities for the next 50 standard years. Carter felt his face grow hot. 50 years of Xilari supervision would strangle Earth's growth. Every new human colony would need council approval. Every new technology would be reviewed before humans could use it themselves. The council leader, an ancient Ventari, gestured to Carter. The human representative may respond. Carter walked to the central platform. The room quieted. He looked at the faces and forms of the galaxy's oldest civilizations. For decades, humans had tried to earn their respect. Today, that approach would end. Honorable representatives, Carter began. For 75 years, humanity has participated in this council. We have shared our technologies, respected your borders, and followed your rules. In return, we have been treated as children. Murmurs spread through the chamber. Carter continued, his voice growing stronger. The Xilari military installation near our Proxima Centauri colony violates 3 separate treaties. When we raised this issue, our concerns were dismissed as paranoia from an immature species. Now we face oversight that no other council member would accept. Carter paused, looking directly at the Xilari delegation. Therefore, by order of President Diane Powell and the United Earth Government, as of this moment, humanity formally withdraws from the Galactic Council. All diplomatic missions will close. All technology sharing programs will end. All human representatives will return to Earth space within 1 standard week. The chamber erupted in shouts and arguments. Several representatives rose to their feet. The council leader struck his sound staff against the floor repeatedly, trying to restore order. Carter stood calmly in the center of the storm, feeling strangely peaceful. Humanity had finally stopped trying to please those who would never see them as equals. Now the galaxy would learn what it meant to lose human innovation and cooperation. The real lessons were about to begin. The council chamber remained in chaos long after William Carter left. Shouts in 100 languages filled the air as representatives argued, threatened, and panicked. Susan Blackwell, Earth's economic advisor, watched it all from a small observation room above the chamber. Her communication device buzzed. "How bad is it?" asked President Powell from Earth. "Worse than we expected," Susan replied. "The Booveran Trading Consortium representatives look like they might pass out. 3 minor species are demanding emergency meetings." "Good," said Powell. "Return home with the rest of the team. Phase 2 begins now." Susan took one last look at the disorder below. The galaxy had treated humans like clever pets for 75 years. Now they would learn what happened when those pets walked away. Across council space, human diplomats and representatives received the same message. Protocol homeward enacted. Return to Earth space immediately. On the luxury planet Zeldin, trade envoy Derek Rodriguez watched his team pack up the embassy. They left behind bewildered alien officials who suddenly realized their economy depended on human technology they barely understood. "Sir, the Zeldonian premier is requesting an emergency meeting," said Rodriguez's assistant. "Tell him our communication systems are already shut down for transport." Rodriguez answered. "All inquiries should go through the Galactic Council, as Earth no longer maintains direct diplomatic channels." The assistant smiled. They both knew the council couldn't answer those questions. Ambassador Trelak, a moderate voice on the council, rushed down the hallway toward the now closed human embassy on Nexus Station. 2 guards blocked the entrance. "Please," the 6-limbed diplomat said, "I must speak with Ambassador Carter immediately. This withdrawal will cause untold damage to countless worlds." "Ambassador Carter has already departed for Earth," said one guard. "The embassy is closed." "Then connect me to someone. Anyone in Earth's government," Trelak begged. "There must be room for negotiation." "All communication equipment has been removed," said the other guard. "The Galactic Council has official channels to contact Earth if needed." Trelak slumped. The Council's communication with Earth had always gone through this embassy. No direct channels existed. It had never seemed necessary. On Earth, President Powell addressed the United Government Assembly. The Great Hall was packed with representatives from every human colony and Earth nation. "Today marks a new chapter for humanity," she said. "For too long, we have tried to earn respect from those who see us only as useful tools or potential threats. Our withdrawal from the Council is complete." She gestured to a large display showing markets across the galaxy. Red indicators flashed everywhere. As expected, Council economies are already feeling our absence. The Booveran Trading Consortium has lost 40% of its value in 6 hours. The Exilari military-industrial complex faces collapse within days without human component supplies. A hand raised in the audience. "Madam President, what about retaliation?" "The Exilari have a substantial fleet." Powell nodded to her military advisor, who stood up. "General Ryan Burke, Earth Defense Force," he said. "We've activated Phase 2 of our contingency plan. All colonial defenses are at full alert, and we've implemented certain technological surprises that had been kept in reserve." Murmurs spread through the hall. "For security reasons, we kept our most advanced developments from the Council," Burke continued. "Any aggressive action toward human space will meet capabilities the Council races don't know we possess." Meanwhile, in a luxurious office on the Booveran homeworld, Chairperson Ulo stared at financial reports in horror. The consortium that had taken generations to build was falling apart in hours. "Get me the Celari High Chancellor," Ulo said to an aide, "and the Arkelian Prime Minister. We need an emergency session." The aide looked worried. "Sir, communications with multiple systems are failing. The human technicians who maintain the quantum relay network have all departed." Ulo's skin turned pale. "What about the backup systems? They were designed by humans too." Sir. Across the galaxy, the first failures of systems long maintained by human engineers began. The technology vacuum had started. Back on Earth, Ambassador Carter stood at the window of the president's office, watching the city lights below. "Do you think they'll learn?" Powell asked, joining him. "They'll have to," Carter replied. "The question is how much they'll break before they understand we were holding them together." 1 month after Earth's withdrawal, the real problems began. On the medical world of Archelia, Dr. Gregory Hudson watched from his small apartment as emergency vehicles rushed through the streets. He had been the head of human technical support for the Archelian medical network before the withdrawal. Now he was just a visitor waiting for transport home. His door chimed. When he opened it, 3 Archelian officials stood there, their gray skin pale with stress. "Dr. Hudson, please," said the tallest one. "We need your help. The neural interface systems are failing across all major hospitals. Thousands will die." Gregory sighed. "I warned your government this would happen when regular updates stopped. The systems need human technicians. Can you fix them? Just until we find a solution." "I'm not authorized to provide technical support," Gregory said, repeating the line all remaining humans had been instructed to use. "All assistance requests must go through official channels." The official's 4 eyes blinked rapidly. "But there are no official channels. The Council cannot reach Earth's government." Gregory simply closed the door. Inside, he felt terrible. But orders were orders. The galaxy needed to understand what they had lost. On Earth, scientist Olivia Bennett stood before a display showing the new form of quantum communication. Her team had been working on it for years, but had never shared it with the Council. "The final tests are complete," she told President Powell. "This system is 300% faster than anything the Council races have, and it cannot be intercepted or monitored by current technology." Powell nodded. "How soon can we implement it across human space?" 6 months for full coverage, Olivia said. "We already have the manufacturing capacity since we didn't share the previous generation with the Council either." Powell smiled. "Excellent. Begin immediately." Meanwhile, at an emergency council meeting, representatives from 20 mid-tier civilizations demanded action. Their spokesperson, Ambassador Gintera, stood at the center of the chamber. "Half of our medical technology is failing," she shouted. "Our communication systems barely function. The humans built these systems to require their maintenance. We must establish contact." Council Security Director Krav, a massive reptilian being, growled from his seat. "We have tried. All attempts to reach Earth through traditional channels have failed. Then we must try non-traditional channels," said Gintera. "Several of our worlds have proposed a joint diplomatic mission directly to Earth. We will bypass the Council and negotiate directly." Murmurs spread through the chamber. Direct negotiation outside Council protocols was technically illegal, but desperate times required desperate measures. High Chancellor Vexer of the Xilari rose from his seat. "The humans engineered this crisis. They built dependency into their technologies to use against us. This proves they cannot be trusted. Yet we depended on them." Ambassador Trelek countered. "Perhaps that says more about us than them." In a distant system, at the edge of human space, a small fleet of ships gathered. They carried representatives from 12 worlds that relied heavily on human technology. Their mission was simple: reach Earth and open direct talks. Ambassador Gintera watched from the command deck as the ships prepared to jump to faster-than-light travel. "Are we certain this is wise?" asked her aide. "The humans might see a fleet approaching as a threat. We broadcast our intentions on all frequencies," she replied. "And we travel in unarmed diplomatic vessels. If humans truly value peace as they claimed, they will at least hear us." The ships vanished into FTL travel, heading toward the Sol system. Back on Earth, President Powell received the report from border monitoring stations. "A diplomatic fleet from non-council worlds," she read, "requesting direct talks." Ambassador Carter studied the data. "This is interesting. These are worlds that always supported us in council votes. They're breaking council protocol by coming directly to us. Should we receive them? Powell asked. Carter nodded slowly. Yes, but not on Earth. Direct them to our station at Europa. And let's make sure they understand this is a special exception, not a new policy. And the Council's own requests for communication. Carter's expression hardened. They continue to be ignored. Let them stew a while longer. They haven't suffered enough yet to truly value what we offered. Admiral John Miller stood on the bridge of the Earth defense ship Intrepid, watching the tactical display with narrowed eyes. Unusual movement had been detected along the borders of human space for the past week. The HFY were up to something. Admiral, we have confirmation, said his communications officer. Long-range scanners show a HFY fleet assembling near the Rigel sector. At least 30 warships. Miller nodded. Send the data to Earth Command. Looks like the HFY are finally making their move. In her office on Earth, President Powell reviewed the report with her military advisors. General Maria Martinez pointed to the display showing the HFY fleet positions. They're calling it a containment fleet, Madam President. Officially, they claim it's to prevent human technology from reaching the wider galaxy and causing more economic damage. Powell's expression remained calm. And unofficially? It's a show of force, Martins replied. The HFY believe we'll be intimidated into returning to the Council on their terms. They still don't understand us at all, Powell said. She turned to her security chief. Is Project Firewall ready? Lisa Franklin, head engineer of the project, nodded. Yes, Madam President. All systems are operational. The network has been fully deployed around our border worlds. Then it's time we showed the HFY what we've been holding back. Powell pressed a button on her desk. Activate Project Firewall. Authorization code. Powell Epsilon 72. Deep in space, near Earth's colony worlds, hidden satellites and stations powered up. Technology that had never been shared with the Galactic Council came to life. On the HFY flagship, Commander Drescore received a priority message from scout vessels he had sent toward human space. Commander, we've detected unusual energy readings from the border region, reported his science officer. Nothing like we've seen from humans before. Drescore flicked his tail impatiently. Proceed with the mission. The humans are bluffing. Their technology is impressive, but not mysterious to us. We've studied their capabilities for decades. The scout group, 5 of the fastest HFY ships, accelerated toward the human colony on Wolf 359. Their mission was simple: penetrate human space, gather intelligence on defenses, and return. The HFY military had done hundreds of such missions along the borders of other species. As the scouts crossed into human territory, alarms sounded on their bridges. Sensors detected energy fields forming around their ships. Before they could react, each vessel was surrounded by a glowing blue bubble. Inside the lead scout ship, the captain watched an alarm as their engines shut down. Every system on the ship went dark, then rebooted into a basic life support mode. They were dead in space. A message appeared on their main screen, in perfect HFY script. Your vessels have been contained by automated defense systems. No harm will come to your crews if you do not resist. You will be escorted to a holding facility for processing. Small, unmanned human ships appeared around each captured vessel. No weapons were fired. No threats were made. The HFY scouts were simply taken. When news reached Commander Drescore, he could not believe it. 5 of their most advanced ships captured without firing a shot. Impossible. He immediately sent a message to the High Chancellor Vexer. Humans possess technology far beyond what they revealed to the Council. Recommend immediate withdrawal of containment fleet. On Earth, Admiral Miller reported to President Powell. The firewall system performed perfectly. All 5 HFY scouts captured intact, with all crew unharmed. And what did they see before we captured them? Powell asked. Just enough, Miller smiled. They saw our defensive capabilities are generations ahead of what they thought, but they didn't see how it works or how to counter it. Powell turned to Ambassador Carter. Send footage of the captured ships to all major council worlds. Include a message. Earth has always believed in peace through strength. We kept much of our technology private because we never trusted the council. Recent events have proven our caution was justified. Any further military incursions into human space will be met with similar responses. Carter nodded. And the Xilari crews. Process them and send them home unharmed, Powell said. But make sure they see enough of our technology to spread the word. The galaxy needs to understand that humans were never the primitive newcomers they thought we were. 6 months after Earth's withdrawal, the Galactic Council meeting hall was nearly half empty. What had once been the unified governing body of the galaxy was breaking apart. Ambassador Gintera stood before the remaining council members, her blue scales shimmering under the lights. The Archelian Confederation can no longer abide by council directives regarding Earth, she announced. The medical crisis on our worlds has reached catastrophic levels. We have lost millions of lives because our neural medical systems were designed and maintained by humans. High Chancellor Vexer of the Xilari slammed his fist on the table. The humans planned this. They deliberately made us dependent on their technology. No, replied Grand Elder Kinlo of the ancient Tellurian civilization. The old alien's voice was soft, but carried across the chamber. They shared their advances openly. We chose to use their technology without understanding it. That was our mistake, not their trap. The chamber erupted in arguments. More than a dozen civilizations had already broken from council unity, establishing direct relations with Earth through the diplomatic station at Europa. Now the Archelians, one of the 7 founding races of the council, were doing the same. On Earth, President Powell met with her advisors to discuss these developments. Security Director Edward Simmons pushed for continued isolation. We're in a position of strength, he argued. Every week that passes, more council worlds come begging for our help. We should maintain complete isolation until the council formally acknowledges our sovereignty. Patricia Coleman, veteran of the diplomatic corps, disagreed. Total isolation isn't in our interest, Madam President. We should engage selectively with friendly civilizations. The council is fracturing. We can shape what replaces it. Powell considered both views. The past 6 months had proven Earth's position stronger than anyone had expected. Nearly 60% of advanced medical systems across council space had been designed by humans. Communications networks were failing. Trade networks were breaking down as the standardized systems that translated between different alien currencies stopped working. We'll take a middle path, Powell decided. We'll establish direct relations with the Archelian Confederation and the other civilizations that have broken from the Council. But we'll maintain our withdrawal from the Council itself until they meet our terms. On the Xilari homeworld, High Chancellor Vexer faced growing opposition. The failed military operation against human space had exposed weaknesses in Xilari defenses. The economic crisis was growing worse. Several of the Xilari's traditional allies had abandoned them to seek agreements with Earth. The humans have humiliated us. Vexer shouted at his military advisors. We must respond with force. General Kraser, who had reviewed the reports from the captured scout ships, shook his head. Chancellor, we cannot win a direct conflict. The technology we saw on their border outpaces is our best systems by at least 50 years. The humans have been hiding their true capabilities. Then we will find other ways, Vexer hissed. At the Europa station, Ambassador William Carter met with representatives from 17 civilizations that had broken from the Council. The meeting chamber was crowded with diverse alien forms. Earth welcomes your delegations, Carter said. We are prepared to establish direct diplomatic and trade relations with each of your worlds, under new terms that respect human sovereignty. Ambassador Gintera stepped forward. The Archelian Confederation accepts these terms. Our people are dying without human medical technology. We formally apologize for our role in the Council's treatment of humanity. One by one, The representatives of different civilizations made similar statements. The galactic power structure was realigning around Earth. Later, Carter sent his report to President Powell. "The Council is fracturing into 3 distinct blocks," he wrote. "The Auxiliary lead the hardliners who still refuse contact. The ancient Tellurians lead a moderate bloc seeking compromise while maintaining the Council structure. And now we have our own alliance forming. 17 civilizations that have broken completely from Council authority." Powell read the report with satisfaction. 6 months ago, humanity had been treated as upstart newcomers. Now they were reshaping the galactic order without firing a shot. "Phase 3 can begin," she told her advisors. "It's time to show the galaxy what human innovation can really achieve when we're not holding back." Karen Mitchell studied the report on her desk with a frown. As Director of Earth Intelligence, she had expected the Auxiliary to respond with some form of retaliation. Now it was happening. 3 sabotage incidents in the past week, she told President Powell during their secure meeting. "Our colony on Tau Ceti lost their main power grid. The research station at Epsilon Eridani suffered a computer virus attack. And most concerning, someone tried to plant explosives at the Europa diplomatic station." Powell's expression remained calm, but her eyes hardened. "Casualties? None. Our security measures caught the attacks early, but the evidence points clearly to auxiliary operatives." Instead of the military response that auxiliary might have expected, Powell chose a different approach. "Release the evidence to all neutral council members. Make it clear we know exactly who's responsible." "And our response?" Mitchell asked. "Authorized," Powell said simply. "Operation Sunshine." Throughout Council space, human agents who had remained behind after the diplomatic withdrawal received their orders. Not military personnel, but intelligence officers who had been placed years earlier in preparation for this possibility. Agent Paul Harrison accessed the secure communication from Earth while in his apartment on a trading station near auxiliary space. His orders were clear: not sabotage or violence, but information. He uploaded a data package to the station's public networks. Within hours, citizens across 3 auxiliary-controlled worlds were viewing proof of how their government had cheated them for decades. Tax funds diverted to private accounts, unsafe working conditions in mines and factories, secret deals with the council that traded away the rights of common citizens. The information sparked protests on dozens of worlds under auxiliary influence, but Earth's strategy went further. On Lizara, a small world that had been under auxiliary control for a century, human agents made contact with resistance leaders. Earth offered them something the Council had always restricted: advanced technology and education without limitations. "Your people were never considered too primitive to handle this technology," Harrison told the resistance leader, a tall female named Kaya. "The auxiliary deliberately kept it from you to maintain control." Kaya studied the medical scanner Harrison had given her. It could diagnose hundreds of diseases instantly, saving thousands of lives on her world. "What does Earth want in return?" she asked cautiously. "An alliance of equals," Harrison replied. "Earth believes in self-determination for all species. We offer technology and support now, and fair trade partnerships once you're free." Similar conversations happened on 20 worlds under auxiliary influence. Within weeks, coordinated rebellions began. The auxiliary military, already stretched thin by their containment fleet, couldn't respond effectively to so many uprisings at once. Auxiliary Spymaster Trazel reported to High Chancellor Vexer with growing panic. "The humans aren't fighting us directly. They're turning our own subjects against us, and they're offering those primitive species technology we've kept from them for centuries." Vexer hissed in anger. "How are they coordinating these attacks? Our blockade should prevent any human ships from reaching those worlds." "They never left," Trazel admitted. "They had agents in place for years, waiting for this moment." On a neutral trading world, Ven, an observer representing unaligned civilizations, met secretly with Ambassador Carter. "Earth's strategy is unlike anything the galaxy has seen," Ven said. The Xelari expected military confrontation. Instead, you fight with information and liberation. Half their empire is in revolt. Carter nodded. Humans learned long ago that lasting change comes from within. The Xelari ruled through fear and technology restriction. We offer knowledge and freedom. The Council is watching with great concern, then continued. Some fear Earth plans to replace the Council with its own empire. Earth has no imperial ambitions, Carter said firmly. We want fair partnerships based on mutual respect, not dominance. Tell your people this. Any world that recognizes human sovereignty and offers fair trade will find a willing partner in Earth. But those who try to control us will find we are very difficult to control. Back on Earth, President Powell reviewed the latest reports. The Shadow War was working better than expected. The Xelari Empire was crumbling from within, and Earth hadn't fired a single shot. Phase 4 can begin, she told her cabinet. It's time to reshape the galactic economy. 1 year after Earth's withdrawal, Adam Rivera stepped onto the trading station orbiting Proxima Centauri. The station had become the busiest port in human space. Ships from dozens of worlds now came to trade directly with Earth, bypassing Council regulations and tariffs. Rivera was Earth's leading economist and the architect of a plan that would change the galaxy forever. He checked the small device on his wrist. Representatives from 28 non-Council worlds would arrive within the hour. On the Booveran homeworld, Council Economic Minister Bryzak stared at the latest reports with growing horror. Markets across Council space were in free fall. The carefully controlled economic system that had functioned for thousands of years was collapsing. The humans have announced something called the Terran Cooperative Initiative, his assistant explained. It creates a completely separate economic system outside Council control. Brazak's 6 eyes blinked rapidly in distress. But that violates countless economic treaties. Treaties that no longer apply to Earth since their withdrawal, the assistant reminded him. And now many worlds are considering joining this new economic alliance. In the meeting chamber on Proxima Station, Rivera addressed the gathered representatives. The aliens came in all shapes and sizes, from the tall, slender Archelians to the small, furry Ventari. For millennia, the Council has controlled galactic trade, Rivera explained. Their system extracts wealth from developing worlds and concentrates it among the founding species. The Terran Cooperative offers a different model. He activated a holographic display showing a new economic framework. Our system is based on mutual development rather than exploitation. Member worlds retain control of their resources. Technology is shared rather than restricted. And most importantly, no member can impose economic rules on others. Trade Representative Gartuk, from an independent mining world, raised a tentacle. The Council claims this system will cause economic chaos. Rivera smiled. The Council fears change. Their system has made them wealthy by keeping others poor. Our approach will create more prosperity for all, though it may reduce the extreme wealth of the elite. Governor Nicol Winters, who administered the first joint human-alien development zone on Wolf 359, presented the early results. In just 6 months, our mixed colony has achieved productivity levels that exceed Council projections by 300%. When species collaborate as equals instead of in a hierarchy, innovation accelerates. One by one, the representatives asked questions. Rivera and Winters answered with patience and transparency. By the end of the meeting, 23 worlds had agreed to join the Terran Cooperative. On the luxury world of Verex Prime, corporate magnate Viron Tell watched his fortune disappear as markets continued to crash. His vast trading empire had been built on Council regulations that he had helped write, regulations that gave his corporation special advantages. This cannot stand, he told fellow members of the Council's economic elite during an emergency meeting. If this human model spreads further, our entire way of life will end. An older magnate nodded gravely. I've spoken with High Chancellor Vexer. The Xelari are prepared to take military action, despite their recent setbacks. Viron Tell shook his head. Military action failed before and will fail again. We need to attack their economic model directly. Create doubts, cause disruptions in their supply chains, make their system appear unstable. Back on Earth, President Powell reviewed the success of the Proxima meeting with Rivera. 23 worlds have joined, with 15 more considering membership, Rivera reported. The Council's economic model is facing its first real challenge in 2,000 years. Powell nodded with satisfaction. How are they responding? As expected, the economic elites are panicking. Our intelligence suggests they're planning to sabotage the new system. They won't succeed, Powell said confidently. Their system worked through control and restriction. Ours works through openness and collaboration. It's inherently more resilient. In deep space, along the borders between human and council territory, a steady stream of ships carried refugees, scientists, engineers, and thinkers from council worlds seeking freedom in human space. They brought knowledge, skills, and a desire to live in a system that valued innovation rather than tradition. The greatest revolution in galactic history was happening without a single battle being fought. The weapons were ideas, and humanity was winning. 18 months after humanity's withdrawal, the Grand Meeting Hall on Earth was filled with representatives from across the galaxy. The old Galactic Council, which had stood for thousands of years, no longer functioned as a unified body. In its place, 3 distinct power groups had formed. President Diane Powell, now in her second term, stood at the center podium. Behind her hung the flags of 72 worlds that had joined the human-led cooperative of independent worlds. Today marks a new chapter in galactic history, Powell announced. The Sol Accords will establish new principles for cooperation among all civilizations, based on mutual respect and shared development. William Carter, the ambassador whose withdrawal speech had started it all, watched from a side chamber. When Powell finished her opening remarks, he would present the details of the accords to the gathered delegates. "Did you ever imagine it would turn out like this?" asked Rebecca Chen, a young diplomat who had become Carter's protege. Carter shook his head. "Honestly, no. We hoped to gain respect and independence. We never expected to reshape the entire galactic order." In the audience, representatives from all 3 power blocks listened to Powell's speech. The largest group was from the cooperative, worlds that had allied directly with Earth. They sat proudly in the front sections. Behind them sat delegates from the traditional council remnant, led by Grand Elder Kinlo of the ancient Tellurian civilization. These species still believed in the council structure but now accepted that humans deserved equal standing. In the back, a small group of delegates from the Xilari Concordat watched with carefully neutral expressions. The Xilari Empire had been severely weakened by the rebellions Earth had supported. High General Krazer, representing the Concordat, had come to Earth only after receiving guarantees of safe passage. "The past 18 months have taught us all important lessons," Powell continued. "The old order, based on hierarchy and control, could not survive when challenged. The new galactic community we build today must be founded on different principles." From his seat, Kinlo nodded slowly. The ancient Tellurian had lived for over 300 years and had served on the council for most of that time. Yet in all those years, his people had never faced such rapid change. "We of the traditional council acknowledged that change was necessary," Kinlo said when it was his turn to speak. "For too long, we mistook stability for progress. We confused tradition with wisdom. The humans have shown us a different path." Even High General Krazer, when called to speak, admitted reality. "The Xilari Concordat does not share the human vision of the galaxy, but we recognize their strength and innovation. The Sol Accords provide fair terms even for those who were once enemies." William Carter finally stepped up to the podium. The moment felt unreal. 18 months ago, he had stood before the council to announce humanity's departure. Now representatives from across the galaxy had come to Earth on humanity's terms. "The Sol Accords establish 3 core principles," Carter explained. First, the sovereignty of all intelligent species over their own development. Second, the free exchange of technology and knowledge without artificial restrictions. Third, economic cooperation that benefits all partners, not just the powerful. As Carter spoke, screens around the hall displayed the full text of the Accords. Unlike the complex, Lou-fulfilled documents of the Old Council, the Soul Accords were clear and direct. Later that evening, as celebration dinners were held across Earth, Carter stood with President Powell on the balcony of the reception hall. "What do you think happens next?" Powell asked, looking up at the stars. "Challenges will come," Carter replied. "The Silari still resent us. Some of the old council races will resist change. But the galaxy has been transformed. Humanity found its strength not in weapons or threats, but in our willingness to walk away and build something better." Across the room, human diplomats mingled with aliens from dozens of worlds. Species that had barely communicated under the Old Council now discussed trade agreements and cultural exchanges. Former enemies cautiously explored common ground. "The irony," Carter said with a smile, "is that by leaving the galactic community, we ended up at its center. Sometimes the only way to change a broken system is to have the courage to build a new one." Powell nodded. "And that has always been humanity's greatest strength."